And welcome back. My name is Jenn Lin and this is Debbie.
Hi.
And we are going to be talking this month, the month of March, on careers, your career, and building it in some ways that you can be successful that way.
All right.
you.
Just want to tell everybody here we are researching potential careers. Make sure you use online platforms. Look up the job descriptions, salary ranges, and required qualifications. Professional sites like LinkedIn and Glass. These are things online that you'd be able to look up and see. You want to make sure before, unless you're in college and you've gone to become a doctor or you've gone to become a lawyer and you know exactly where you're going. That's going to take you from your college to university to career. But for other people, you want to make sure that think about what you want to do for the rest of your life, because basically that's what a career is. If you want to be good at it, you need to invest your life into it. So whatever interests you. But while you're doing that, use online platforms. Look up job descriptions, salary ranges, and requested qualifications, and professional sites like LinkedIn and Glassdoor. Also, Indeed is
That's
a big
another
one. And these are going to help you. You're going to get your foot in the door. It's not the day of, when I was growing up where you submitted resumes and they were like, yes, we want you. No, you need to do this and go in and sell yourself.
Well, most places, they don't even take in person. They do everything online. Trying to have a baby, you have those millions of sperm trying to get to the one thing. And so those are millions of job applications for that one job, and only one will get in.
And you need to know how to sell yourself on this.
And not short sell yourself, and which the importance of looking things up so you don't lowball yourself with a salary.
You want to go in there and you want to kill it. You want them to think, I cannot run my business without this person. And to do that, you need to do some things like analyze your findings. When considering what resonates with you by looking into different industries and the data responsibilities of various roles. And you're going, oh my God, I thought it was a lot more entertaining, or it was a lot hard. Then, maybe double think that one, because a lot of times people go, oh, I want to be this. And then they look into it and it's like, oh, I don't want to do all of that to be this. So this is one of the things, analyze the findings of jobs.
Could I add something in on that?
By all means.
One thing that I did do, what might be worthy, they have, I think they still have apprentice programs.
Some places do now.
Like back in the day, they used to have the candy stripers for the people that wanted to be nurses, that thought they wanted to be nurses or doctors.
I don't think they have them anymore.
Yeah, probably not, but I bet you could. One thing that I know people do let you do is shadow for a day to see if that's something that you would be interested in. And if you're looking and you're following them around and you're like, ooh, I don't know if I could do that, or if you know you want to be a doctor, maybe you might want to start off in the medical field somewhere, maybe as a medical assistant or a phlebotomist or something like that. You could be a cop or something like that, that would be a step up. But if you don't like what you're doing, even in that step, then at least you haven't wasted a bunch of years doing something, and money and time, because you don't get time back doing something that you're not going to be interested in. Because it's way better to find out now that you don't like that. Research is really important on that.
Yeah, and I recommend, I have grandchildren that are, out of high school, and, one that doesn't have an idea. But you know what? Go around and do these apprenticeships. Like one of my grandchildren mentioned, oh, I would like to do this. I don't want to say it in case he's watching. But it was like, okay, that's great. But make sure, go talk to the people that are in this field. Go observe them for a day. Go understand exactly what it may not be all the fun and games that you think it is. So
could I add one more thing? If it is something that you want to do, get in touch with those people.
Oh, definitely.
See if you can find a mentor so that they can help you through. They know the exact steps that to get there, instead of having to figure it out for yourself. It's like a fast track.
It's a ladder
to getting
to
there.
the top.
Yeah,
exactly.
And plus, they would know people And if they know you and you have a good relationship with them, they're going to get you in with people that they know, and you'll have an advantage over other people.
Exactly. You need to understand what the job that you're going to choose entails and what your day-to-day life is. Make sure, check exactly what is going to resonate with the lifestyle you want to lead.
Yes, I love that. If you're going to be a family person,
Right. Yeah. And you're not
you
going to be
know,
home.
Or if you're not, you don't want kids and you just want to be by yourself, then having that kind of away job would be fine.
Exactly. So you have to find what resonates with your life. Now, the next thing we have is researching your ideal lifestyle. Think about the lifestyle you want, which is exactly what we were talking about. Do you want to be alone? Do you want a family? Do you want to be home on the weekends? Do you actually want to see your children grow up? These are the things you have to think about. What's important to you in a career, such as your work, life balance, income potential, or contribution to a cause. Now, a lot of people go, oh, I want to do this because it makes a lot of money. That's fine. But also look at the negative. I'll tell you for one, I'm a retired nurse. You look at doctors. Doctors spend a majority of their time in the hospital taking care of patients when they're in the office. And their families, the major complaint is no time with their husband, their wife, or their parent. So these are things to think about. If you want to be somebody that wants to be like the Brady Bunch and you want to have a bunch of kids and you want to be home and taking care of your kids and do it, think of something and make sure that it's conducive to the lifestyle you want to lead. Also, if you're looking to be just rich and famous, well, then you want to find something that's not going to involve you with a whole bunch of other commitments, because you can only commit to one thing to be perfect. So,
Exactly. I would also say the temperament of the other person, because sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
Maybe have a wife that doesn't mind you being away because she likes her me time, and and you work better with short time, but just depends on the person
exactly.
as well. You would have to consider that.
These are all things you have to take into consideration. What is my ultimate goal? Do I want to make it rich and then settle down? Or do I want to try and I don't mean to be a negative Nancy here, but try to struggle along with a wife and a family to get to the top. These are things, if you can handle that, that's great. I've seen success many times. If you can't, then wait till you're older, you have your success, and then get involved.
I do have one thing to add, Debbie, if that's okay. Even if you plan to be single, have fur babies like that. And if you decide to have animals, you're going to have to make sure to be there for them to take care of them.
Or afford somebody to come in and sit with them while your busy lifestyle goes on.
While you're going on, and they will hate that. So I would suggest, if you're going to be a fur parent, to make sure that you can spend quality time with them because they love you.
Our next thing we're going to touch on is gain experience and build your network. Get practical experience. Look for internships, apprenticeships, volunteer opportunities, or test a career, test a career path firsthand. You're not going to get paid for it, but just say, hey, look, I'm thinking about when I go to college, I want to do this. I'd like to see really a day on the job or a couple of days on job to see, is this something I really want to do? Don't get yourself locked in. People have dreams. And like I said, as a retired nurse, I have heard so many people say, I thought I was going to make a lot more money at this job. Well, a lot of money, but it costs a lot of hours to do so. And taking care of people and healing people on that, I didn't mind that. But a lot of other people be like, well, I have to work all these hours and, the money I get, and I got people throwing up on me and whatever else and throwing things in. Well, that's all part of nursing. So kind of go in and, be a candy striper, whatever, go to the room, pass out books, see what the nurses have to deal with. These are things, test it out before you commit, because there's nothing worse than going through a portion of your college education and realizing, I don't want this. Now you wasted 1, 2, maybe 3 semesters.
Did you ever do that? Did you do any apprenticeships?
Oh, I worked in medical from the time my daughter was in like 5th grade. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I did too. I thought I wanted to be a doctor. And so I went to be a medical assistant, hated that. And that's when I discovered I never wanted to be a nurse or anything to do with like dealing with the same people all the time. But what I did love was drawing blood. I loved being a vampire. And when I found out that you could do that, just that, and where you're seeing different people all the time, every 5 minutes is always somebody different. It's not the same people and different conversations. That's the way I liked it. And I thought, well, thank God I didn't waste my time and money trying to do that. And I didn't want to so I didn't waste my time going to nursing school or to medical school or pursuing that. I've always known I wanted to be a teacher. So what I did was I got with a lot of my high school teachers and I asked them what the steps were to get in. And I also had to do research with something called an encyclopedia because they didn't have the internet. So I had to, between that and just going out and asking people and going to schools and trying to get some experience and what it's like from the teacher's point of view.
Conduct informational interviews. Make sure, say you decide, okay, I've always wanted to be a fireman. Okay, fine. So go down to your local fire department, ask if you could do some ride-alongs, if you can just be there to see what it's like before you invest in all the training that has to go through with it. And this goes for any field. I mean, you can do this in nursing, anything. I mean, of course, not a surgeon, but I mean, make sure that you get a realistic view of what your job, including its challenges, is going to be. Because remember, people, you choose a career. This is your life. I mean, maybe 20 years in, you want to change, but to be good at what you do, you need a good amount of time, 10, 15 years at least, to be professional in what you do. So make sure when you get up every morning that you're like, I enjoy going to work today. I hate this job. Well, then that's not the career for you. So make
You
sure
want to have
you
a reason
think
to get
about
up
that.
every morning.
Yeah.
Have a reason to get up every morning.
Exactly.
Could I add something to
You
that?
can add whatever you want.
Perfect. Because you know what? You all have it so much easier than I did and
Or
that Debbie did, because you can look on YouTube. You can look what is a day like as a whatever it is.
Exactly.
And chances are there's somebody that's recording what they do from sun up to sundown, what they do for that career. So that's another option for you.
Exactly. And now also make sure you want to build a network, attend career events, join online communities, and connect with people in your areas of interest. So you want to be an electrician. Okay, that's fine. Attend some of the career benefits. Talk to people, online communities. I mean, I know a lot of people today, their main goal in a career is how much money am I going to make? So go online, find out what is your average, electrician making in your area per year. And it's like, okay, if this is going to pay for, even if it's something that you really want to do, but make sure it's going to be able to cover your expenses and, where you live. I mean, if you're living in an area where your expenses are phenomenal and you're going to get a job and it's not going to cover it, no matter how much you like that job, you are not going to be happy. So you got to make sure to take this into account. And
could I add something to
sure.
that? What another advantage is, if you look, as far as networking goes, look up the companies. A lot of times the bigger companies will have like starter programs for people who are interested in that career, and they'll have programs for you to get your foot in the door a lot easier. I know Google does.
Oh gosh, yes.
They have like IT programs that a lot of them are free because they want young talent, and they're looking for young people who are interested. If you express interest and get with somebody that's there, they can mentor you in that company and get your foot in the door.
Absolutely.
That's what I wanted to
No,
add.
I agree. Absolutely. I mean, these are things you have to think about. I mean, today in life, it's not just easy to just go, okay, I want to be a teacher. Well, that's fine. But if you're living in the middle of nowhere and you want to be a teacher and you want to have a nice house and a car and 4 children, maybe that area is not going to pay you what you need as a teacher. So you might have to look to relocate. And this is something that's, really important. Just be on the lookout and make sure it's not today's day and age. You cannot go, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, because there just isn't the opportunities.
Yeah. I'm going to be a rock star when I grow up.
And on that happy note, the next thing I'm going to talk about is making a plan and staying flexible. Sorry about that. Set goals. Establish achievable short-term goals, such as gaining a specific skill or completing a project. So, you're going to go into something, you say, all right, well, I want to do this. Well, okay, if you want to do something that has to do with making art, and maybe you want to get into welding, think about, what do I need to do to be able to fulfill myself in that field?
Or if you wanted to go work in another country and you don't know that language, you would get that skill of knowing the language of the country that you want to go live in.
Correct. And also, another thing I want to talk about is evaluate and adapt. Regularly reflect on your progress and be prepared to adjust your plan as you learn more about yourself and your interests. So you get into a job and you're going, all right, well, I feel pretty stagnant here, and I feel like I have so much more I can offer. So maybe I could find something else in this field that will allow me to pursue and show what I have to offer in different areas. Don't just sit in for like, well, I'm here and that's it. I'm going to be in this job for the next 25 years and I'm going to get a retirement, because I'm telling you, that is like the most miserable life you have ever wanted to live.
100%.
So don't do that. Always keep options open. Learn, and further your growth. Do what you, hey, I'm going to try this. This is something brand new they just brought into the company. Hey, I'm going to see if that interests me.
Because it's something that I'm good at. And that can also get you promoted, because if it's something that is in their best interest, that it's going to save them time and money, you're going to be an asset to them with those skills that you have. And with that, I'm going to go into career scams. That, unfortunately, I've been a part of, and it's something that I do not want you to get involved with. You want to look for unrealistic pay, vague job descriptions. There's a lot of those on Indeed, let me tell you. A lack of professional communication, a lack of proper grammar on those ads. If you have to pay for training, any real job doesn't make you pay for training and equipment. And if they bypass the traditional interviews for roles and then only through text message or instant message apps, especially WhatsApp, those are things that you want to look out for. A lot of times, look and see the frequency of how often they're in there. And if they say, usually sometimes they'll say manager trainee, and they'll have a bunch of positions for it, and then commissions, where it's commission only for the most part. Some of those job scams are a lot like cults, where they'll bring you in and they just suck up all your time, and they make it so like it's really like a group atmosphere, and it's so much teamwork, and they're just like wanting you to go to meeting after meeting. And this was a commission only job, and it's something that I got out of really quick. I did it for about a week, and I'm like, nah. It was advertised as entry level management, but it had a lot of these red flags. It's basically like an MLM, like a multi-level marketing, but in person, and they had you going door to door to sell phone plans, and you only got paid with the commissions. It was like a cult. I'll just put it that way. So that's what I have to say about job scams. I was telling about the job scam that I got caught up in.
Oh gosh.
It was like a cult, commission only, and then also sometimes what I would say is look out for those things in your Facebook messages with those friends from high school offering you an opportunity with, oh, hi, have you seen this new product? You have all the MLMs like Herbalife, Primerica, all the juices, all of these products and then they say, join my team. And it is a pyramid scheme. They say that
Yes.
it's not.
It is.
Because you're selling but it's basically overpriced product. You only make money by recruiting. You don't make the real money by selling the products.
No. The
So-
person making the money is that started the pyramid scheme. It trickles down and
they
you're
take
paying
advantage
into it.
They take
Yeah.
advantage of young people and
Absolutely.
young moms.
It sounds too good to be true.
If you hear the word opportunity, run.
Quick cash
or
run.
Or congratulations. Anything that begins with congratulations,
Yep.
opportunity. What was the other one? Opportunity. I have a wonderful opportunity
Yeah.
for you. Congratulations.
Right.
You've won.
Quick cash.
Quick cash. Yeah, that was it.
Quick
yeah.
cash. There's no such thing.
You know,
Anything worth gaining in life, you've got to work for. Okay, so don't think you're going to get rich quick unless you buy a lottery ticket and it's $1 million. Then good for you.
if anybody wants you to go off an app where you're on a safe app where you're working and they want you to go to WhatsApp, no, don't ever do that. That's a scam.
Okay.
Unrealistic promises.
Oh, that's
Usually, I didn't get to this part yet.
No,
Entry level position, promises of quick and easy pay with little effort. Those are some other things of scams. And then, you get emails that don't have the business, that are Gmails, and they don't have the corporate domain. So that's another one. And like I said earlier, they'll have grammatical errors and
if there's no phone number,
no communication. Absolutely.
you got to be
no
a phone number. None of this, I'm going to text you or whatever, email. No, there needs to be a phone number with somebody you can talk to, not a machine.
Here, we're going to send you the equipment and a check, and then you give us some money back.
Yeah.
And then they overpay you.
No.
And then, oh, you can just send us the money back. Don't go into that. No Telegram, no WhatsApp, no phone or video interviews.
Yeah. You don't
on
pay
those things
to have a career unless you're going to college. If someone wants you to pay, it's a scam. They're going to take your money and they're going to run and laugh at you all the way to the bank.
So continuing on that, requests, be aware if people require you to pay up front and ask for personal information. If they ask you to pay for training or for software or anything up front, if they ask for background checks or to top up your account, if they ask for personal sensitive information and bank details before an offer is made, that's a big red flag. That unless you get a firm offer letter from a valuable company that you've actually met in person or you videoed on a secure server that is company server and you have it and you're certain that it's real, do not give out your personal information ever. And a lack of transparency, an inability to find a legitimate presence for a company, such as a website or profile, if there's a vague job description or there's no physical address. And then suspicious job functions, there's a role involving receiving packages and money on behalf of the company. Probably not. And the primary, like we talked about before, if it's just recruiting people, that's a big red flag. That's a scammy job. Just don't get involved. Okay, so like we said, you want to research the company, always verify the company's legitimacy, make sure it's their official website. And if it's not listed on the career page, it could be a scam.
Yes, sirree.
And the biggest thing, kids, is to trust your gut. Never go against your intuition. Go with your first answer. Go with your gut. There's scientific evidence that your gut is your second brain because it's part of your parasympathetic nervous system. And that's where all of the cells in your body, they can sense what's up if something is wrong.
But not if you're a male.
What do you mean?
Not if you're a man.
What do
They
you
don't
mean?
consider that their second brain. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Just
I
a-
get it.
Just a joke,
I
guys. We're
get
all
it.
adults here, but
I get it. Well, I am part blonde.
yeah, you are.
Not yet. I did have to have surgery a little while ago, so that's why my hair is still on the dark side.
But she'll be a blonde soon and she'll get the jokes.
I will. Then I'll get it. I'll start laughing again.
Yes, you will. Okay, proceed.
Moving along. Legitimate employers will not ask you to send money to start work. And I would also say, what I've been sucked into is called the working interview, where they don't pay you. They're supposed to pay you
Oh, for an interview. Yes.
for those. If they want you to spend all day at their place of employment, they want to see how you're doing. They need to pay.
Oh.
I lost count how many working interviews I've done. Well, I mean, I'm thinking sometimes those people just have working interviews going all the time to have somebody cover.
Right,
for
and they
them.
don't have to pay the real
And they
people.
don't have to pay the real people. It's like, okay, we got somebody to cover. You can take your vacation. I really do.
I agree.
So don't be sucked into the working interview. If they want to see how you're doing, they can pay. And if you're one of those people if you're one of those employers that are doing that, you better stop. Yep. We're getting the information out there, and yeah, you better start paying them. I said.
That's right.
And then also be cautious with unsolicited offers. Sometimes you'll be contacted out of the blue via text with job offers. Take those with caution, because sometimes they could just be a thing to scam your phone out of information. They'll shut your phone down or take all the information out of you if you click that link. Don't
Yes.
click any links on suspected things ever. Call the company and ask them, say, hey, I received a text. Are you hiring? Can I speak to a point of contact?
Exactly.
And if it's a real job, they'll tell you. And if it's not, they'll tell you that as well. I ended up doing that, Debbie. There was a job where they were going to send me a computer and money. So I called the company and I told them what had happened. And they said, oh, really? They had no idea. And they said, well, thank you for calling, because I never had any of that.
Right.
I never sent that. And I said, oh yeah, they're going to send a check and all this kind of stuff. And so I saved somebody else from another company from getting scammed.
Exactly.
In his name, because it can ruin your reputation.
Oh, yeah.
It can ruin, it ruins their reputation too. So if you call them, they'll be very happy to know that, wow, did I do that?
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
remember, guys, years ago, we didn't have to worry about hackers. If you saw it online, it was true.
well, it was a newspaper, remember?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, even when computers came out, it was factual. Nowadays, between AI and all these hackers, you can't believe anything. I had somebody try and hack into my password for my bank account and found out that they were doing this from an iPhone I don't even own, from way back on the East Coast, and I live on the West Coast. So take that into consideration.
Oh, and
Now, go ahead.
you know what I had?
No,
I
I
had
don't.
somebody, apparently I had over 10 Chase accounts opened up. Amazon had told me when I was inquiring about another order. And then they said somebody had ordered a Pro Mac from New York.
Yeah.
And I don't live in New York.
Right.
And I only have 2 Chase accounts, our business account and my personal account.
Right.
Not 10. So
I know.
if they're doing that with this, they're doing that with jobs.
So you need to make sure, if you really want the job and you want to invest your time into it, make sure it's a real job. Go talk to somebody and say, I would like to meet you in person and, kind of talk this, and then sign some kind of an agreement. And on that happy note, my next topic that I'm going to be talking about is become a magnet for opportunities. In order to do this, you need to cultivate a growth mindset, actively build with your skills, and create a magnetic personality brand. So this includes continuous learning, defining your value, and being proactive in your professional life. I don't care if it's you're working for McDonald's and you start out at the cash register. Eventually you can become a manager and be making buku bucks. So think about that. It's not like, oh, I'm just doing this or I'm cleaning the bathrooms. No, work your way up. Think about it, invest in yourself. Also, it requires adopting a proactive mindset of self-worth and openness to new connections and challenges. Years ago, I knew somebody, their very first job they started working was in a fast food place. Now, they hadn't worked in a job and they decided that, hey, maybe high school isn't the best thing for me. So, a couple of days on the job, the manager says, would you mind, cleaning the bathrooms? And this person turns around and says, well, hell yes, I'd mind. Boom, you're fired. There goes that career at that fast food place. These are things you got to think about. You say, okay, well, I'm going to start here. But remember, you have to accept every responsibility that that job entails. You can't just be the cashier, the drive-through window, the server. You got to be able to transition to different places. And if you're not willing to do this, then you're not a magnet for opportunities because they're going to go, this person don't want to do anything other than just that. So guess what? That position is going to become obsolete. We can take this person and they can do both. So this is just a little bit for you to think about. Jen?
What I would add to that is, yeah, all of that. But sometimes on the flip, you don't want to make yourself where you're doing everything and where people are taking advantage of you. Because I know when I was going to go teach English in China just before 2020, and I noticed on the contract, we had agreed to an amount per month. And then on the contract, it said, plus all these fees, which wheedled down my take home pay to much lower than we discussed. So that had to be addressed. And then it had this thing on there, miscellaneous duties.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. So it's like, okay. So if your offer letter says miscellaneous duties, I mean, yeah, you do the extra and things like that, but you also want those, there's got to be a line drawn.
How far?
How far are we going? Because I did not want to be in China being stuck doing everything and being taken advantage of. And when I asked them to list out the miscellaneous duties, they refused to do that. So I did not take the contract on that. So
you just have to know what you're getting into. I mean, everybody makes everything sound like, oh, it's so glamorous. Even with careers, before you get into it, talk to people, say, oh, you're a nurse, so what do you think? Because a lot of people get into certain careers and they're doing it because the money. When you get down to it and you realize the amount of hard work and grueling work and the hours, that money really isn't a whole heck of a lot. So these are just things you need to think. This is part of like mindset and attitude. Develop a growth mindset. Believe in your ability. And that's a big thing. A lot of people doubt whether you sell yourself. Everything you think about, you have done somewhat that in your life. I mean, whether it's, loading dishwasher, cooking, but everything requires a certain skill. So in any job you do, there's a certain amount of, well, I've done something so similar to that. So make sure, believe in your ability to improve through dedication and hard work. Prove yourself. Make yourself the best that you can be and somebody that every company wants. So your boss is afraid to lose you because somebody else is going to be paying you a lot more money.
I got a suggestion as well on that. People really bash on AI. I have to say, AI is my friend. AI can be your friend for things like this, your skills, even like your people skills, or if you've been on certain committees, you can punch into ChatGPT the skills that you know for the job that you want, and it's going to harness your skills to make it look like something very attractive of what can be helpful for the job career that you want.
Exactly. Sell yourself.
It will help you to sell yourself that way, which I thought was cool.
And also believe that you're deserving of your success, which can change your focus and affect opportunities to you. Always Years ago, they used to have this guy on Saturday Night Live, and every day he'd look in the mirror. It was a comedian, and he'd go, I am worthy. I deserve what I have and more. These are things you need to be positive, positive thoughts to yourself, positive thinking, and then you can be who and what you want to be and stay open and in the present. Be present in the moment. Maintain open body language and friendly demeanor to foster connections. You go somewhere and it's like, I can walk in and go, oh, I could do, if I was doing this job, you wouldn't want anybody else because I can do this better than anybody else. And I'll give you 30 days. If I can't, you can fire me. And at that point, people are like, oh, wow, she's real. But you know what? That's what I used to hire people. And that's what I want to hear. I want to hear that self-confidence that I'm willing to say, I'm better than the rest. And if I can't prove myself, then go get somebody
I've
else.
done that before. I've done that before. I said, I know that I can do this. I have the skills. If you don't, let's do a probation.
Mhm.
And if I don't get you the results, then fire me. I'm that
Exactly.
confident.
Exactly. And you also have to practice gratitude. Focus on what you have to create a more positive and abundance oriented mindset. These are things every company, every boss, that's what they want to hear. Nobody wants to hear, yeah, I can do that. No, it's like they want to hear you say, I can go above and beyond what you're even looking for. Because I owned a business, and with that, I would have been like, really? And then you get into the, well, how could you? And that's where you got to build your self confidence and say, because I can do this, I can do this, I can. And that's going to make you top of the list as opposed to somebody, well, I've worked for this company and I've done this in the past and that. And yeah, okay. But really, like, do you have any future goals or prospects or, ways to do this or that? So make sure, just sell yourself like you are like the god of that profession.
Well, another idea about opening opportunities for yourself. Let's say you're already working there. Management usually is not on the front lines. You are. And you see things every day that they don't. And you're thinking, well, this would be much more efficient if we stop doing it this way, or we just make one little tweak and you're saving time and money on something. And I've presented about 3 ideas and I got promoted that way.
Yeah.
At some of my old jobs because it's saving them time and money, and a lot of times, saves you headache, and it's just a nice thing to do.
Yes, it is.
Another way of opening opportunities. And then we have personal development. Something I do every day. I have different apps that I use. One that's useful is called Smarty Me,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives you I was just wondering if you've
heard
of it.
No.
Yeah, that's what I
no,
turned to you to ask
No.
if you've heard of it.
no.
Another way that you can continue your learning development is by joining groups. Like, I'm also a part of Toastmasters International, where you can learn how to public speak better and connect and network with people. And they have different pathways that you can take on leadership, or they have, I think I lost a count, but you get to network with other people from different fields and learn from them, and they can connect you to other people that into areas that be interested in. So that is another way that you can do learning and self-improvement. Identify your strengths. A lot of times what you can do is take an interest survey, personality, how you learn. All that put together is going to help guide you to the career that you want. Knowing your strengths and how you can add value to where you're at is priceless. And and then become valuable. When you walk into a room, you want people to notice you. You walk in, you stand there, you want to upgrade the room. When you get there, you want people to be excited. Oh, wow. I get excited when I go someplace different because I want to make the atmosphere better than it was before I got there. And when I leave, I want people to feel better. I want to leave the place better when I leave, and with some nuggets and insight and interesting things to talk about that they didn't know. Be a lifelong learner.
Right. Spark their interest. Make them go out after they've met you. Make them go out and start questioning things with other friends and family. That's how knowledge grows.
And stepping out of your comfort zone. Well, this is definitely, doing this podcast is definitely out of my comfort zone.
Oh, mine completely.
And so
yeah.
this is out of our comfort zone, but we feel that it's so important to be able to help guide you, young people.
After years of our experience.
Yeah, to be able to share so that our suffering isn't for nothing. That's my whole goal, is that I want to give you what I wish I would have had when I was 20. When I was 18, 20, I did not have anybody out there saying, hey, little Jen, come with me. These are the things that you need to do to adult. I didn't have that. And it's been my mission to be able to do that. And thank God I have Debbie that feels the same way.
I didn't even have Google, so I could look up like, well, how would I do this? Or what is this all about? Or, oh, hey, I learned something new. What is it? Oh, really? You know, these are all things, if you didn't learn from your friends or encyclopedias, I was in the dark. So this to me is bringing this information and education to all of you is so to me, because trust me, I've had years and years of experience, and pretty much there's probably nothing you could ask or say that I haven't heard or done or gone through or experienced. So, you know.
And this is just the beginning. There's plenty more where this came from. We've got a lot to offer. In addition to the podcast, we're going to have some more things coming out to you.
Right.
Just, very excited. The podcasts are just the beginning.
Exactly.
So that being said, define your goals, be clear about your goals and opportunities. And like Debbie said, take every opportunity and take a chance. Be willing to take a chance.
Don't be afraid.
Step out on that ledge and create a strong personal brand. And what is a brand? Well, when you think of Nike, I'm sure you can think of a bunch of different names. Those luxury brands, Louis Vuitton, Porsche,
Dolce Gucci.
And when depending on which brand, and then you got like McDonald's, Olive Garden, or Tony Roma's. Each brand, when you think of it, you think of a level of service. You think of a level of quality and value that they bring.
Right.
And so I guess the best way, do you want to be like, do you want to be like a $5 store, or do you want to be like a luxury? Do you want to be perceived as having a lot of value, or when people walk in, they don't really think much of it because you don't provide much value. Right. You want people to see your name, think, oh, they've talked about her at other things. So because you put yourself out there in the community, so you're not just doing for you, you're helping do for other people. You're on committees and people are like, gosh, I just can't get away from your name. I've got to meet her. Exactly. She's giving a lot of value. That's what we mean by creating a strong personal brand. Would you agree, Debbie?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree totally.
But if you don't really know what a brand is,
you are your brand. That's what you have to understand. You are your unique brand. You can't pull from other things and try and copy them. You sell yourself for who you are, what you have to offer, what you can provide to the company. How can I help you better your company? That's you. That is your brand. So make sure, decide who you are and what you want and what you're willing to give. That's your brand.
And you know what? One thing that I do, Debbie, every person that I meet, I always introduce myself.
Of course.
I say, hi, my name's Jen. And, everywhere I go, I always try and get their name.
I do too.
And I was like, what's your name? No matter who it is, whether it's a bum on the street,
right,
or somebody, whatever, you never know. That bum on the street could work their way up, and you know what? They're going to remember you. They'll be like, oh wow, Jen, I remember her. She said hi, and she was a really nice person. I'm gonna work with her.
Exactly.
I mean, you just never know. So if you're always on your A game, always look nice, always
happy,
smiling and happy, A good example is when we went to a store.
Yeah.
We went to Ross, we went shopping, and the cashier was like, we were happy. And we said, yeah, how you doing? Oh, I'm fine. And it's like killed the whole mood. So we're trying to move along, and she just was dragging the vibes down with every minute. And she's just kind of checking things in the bag.
I wouldn't want her as the face of somebody in my company, because when Jen asked for help with a question about a gift card or whatever, she's like, oh, I don't know. That's not my problem. That's yours. And it's like, we were in a store prior to that where she was trying to use, balances on different. And the girl there was like, okay, well, that's this. Okay, we'll do this one. Okay, fine. Then your balance is blah, blah, blah. So I was very put off. My shopping days at Ross would probably be due to that, because I'm spending a lot of money in your store and I don't want to be treated like that. These are things that you have to think about. You're going to put out what you're going to get back. And whether you're working for yourself or a company,
Exactly.
if people are put off by you, it's not going to say good for your business. And on that happy note, back to Jen.
Well, yeah. And what I would add to that is sometimes that happy attitude and that helpful attitude and giving value, sometimes people can see that and they might be recruiting and just like,
You never
be
know
like,
who's out there.
that's a person I think I want to work with. They're going to give you their
Exactly.
business card and they're going to say, you know what? You're somebody, you got the right stuff. We want
Right.
you working for us, and you just might get the deal of a lifetime, the dream of a lifetime. Those are the things you can get when you build up your reputation. I think that's it. Yeah.
Challenge yourself. Also, I'm going to mention about networking. Talk to your network to gain insights and opportunities. That's just common sense. You've got a group of people, you all work at McDonald's. Hey, what can I do to get to be a fry cook? What can I do to use people to gain knowledge to get to where you would like to be and eventually be the manager of that McDonald's? Stay curious. Read often, stay up to date on your industry needs. So you're working at a company and they're supplying some sort of product, and then you be around a bunch of young children complaining about something, and you go to your company and say, I think there would really be a market for this, because I've been around people that would use this and they're complaining that they have no access to it. Stay curious. Also, seek greater autonomy. Look for opportunities to have more control over your work or achieve a better work-life balance. But make sure, whether you're the mom, you're the dad, you're the single parent, make sure that your work life and your home, make sure you form a balance, that you're not spending 90 hours at work and no hours at home with your children or your family in that, because eventually you're not going to be happy. Career killers, unclear roles, the lack of clarity on our responsibilities, how our work fit into the larger picture is a major source of dissatisfaction. So you go to work at a job, they give you a role, and you're sitting there thinking, okay, I'm working here. This is my degree, but I'm doing this. How is this going to help me in my career and with this organization? Clarify the role. Like, hey, I went to school, I took this, I have a degree in this, and I understand, everybody starts at the bottom, and I'm doing this right now, but, will in time I be able to work myself to this position? If this is not going to work, bow out and go somewhere else. And it's just, don't waste your time. And lack of visible improvement, not being able to see signs of progression can be demotivating. So you're in a job and you're working, and it's like, okay, 6 years I'm here and I haven't gotten a raise, and nobody thanks me, and all my ideas people, put under the rug, and that. Well, you know what? You've already spent 5.5 years too much at that position. Being overwhelmed. Working on too many things at once can lead to burnout and decrease effectiveness. And we all know that's true. I mean, from your typical housewife to your top-notch businessman, you can't do all that. Don't get yourself so engrossed in 50,000 things that have to be done, that you're so stressed out. And you know what? Your output is not as effective as it was if you were just concentrating on a couple of things. Remember, delegate. Give some of these other chores that you think, well, somebody else could handle these just as well. Give them out. Do not overwork yourself, because when you fail at your, not so much as fail, but when you're so overwhelmed at work, guess what happens when you go home? You're so overwhelmed, you're not willing to really participate. You need to take some time, cool down. Well, your kids don't understand that daddy came home or mommy came home and they need an hour and a half to 2 hours to come down, because guess what? Oh, we're going to bed then. So these are things you have to think about. Life is short. You want to make sure that whatever job you have, that you're at least enjoying it, and if you're putting in the time, you're getting paid for it and you're appreciated, because you don't want to turn around one day and be like, wow, I worked 60 hours, 80 hours a week, and here I am lying in a hospital bed dying. And guess what? The only people at my side are my immediate family. It's like, oh, really? Where were all those people that you sacrificed all this time for? Food for thought.
Yeah.
And poor work and life balance. Well, that just goes with what I was just saying here. Make sure your work balance and your life balance are equally fulfilling. I don't mind. As a nurse, I put in plenty of extra hours, but you know what? I also took the time to take off on holidays, make sure I was there with my children, my grandchildren, to celebrate all those most important moments, and take vacations. I needed
They
a
give you
break.
vacation time.
You need to make sure that you're not unfulfilled at work, because if you don't find your work meaningful or enjoyable, it's going to negatively impact your career and you're going to be miserable. You know, just think about it. When you went to school and you were a little kid and you started, oh, kindergarten, oh, yeah, I'm going to go to kindergarten. I'm so happy. I'm so, okay, elementary school. Oh, that's so good. I'm learning all these things I never knew about. Then you go on and it's like, okay, so now you're in a high school where you're having to take all these courses that you know are never going to impact what you want to do for your future. And guess what? You're already burnt out. So
No.
make sure everything you do leads up to be happy. You know, the whole thing in life, like Bob Marley said, don't worry, just be happy. Live each day, be happy.
Everything's going
Gonna
to be all right.
And that is about pretty much all that I have to say on this subject. And Jen, anything else you can add?
Yeah, I would add, I think it's good to be helpful to other people, but make sure you got your stuff done first. Otherwise, you will be burned out. If you're not doing your things and you keep volunteering to help other people and your stuff isn't getting done, that's a real fast way that you're going to get burned out.
Yeah.
And the other people are just going to have to own up and take responsibility for their part and manage their time better, because you have things to do. And also be aware of the toxicity of some people. It's not a flex to keep going and not using your vacation time.
Right.
Some people make it a flex that I have 40 days of vacation time unused. Just do it.
Enjoy your life, enjoy your career, and you will be one happy person. And that's about the only way I can sum this up.
Yep.
I'm Debbie. I'm going to be saying goodbye for now, and you will be looking forward to our next episode, which will be
on career. So stay curious
and stay focused.
And if you are getting value from this, make sure to smash that subscribe button, and tell us what you like in the comments, what you like about our podcast, and anything that you want us to add.